With intense competition from global and Chinese brands alike, the mid-range segment is one where Samsung's been losing ground. The Galaxy J line is supposed to fix that. Samsung's taking a leaf out of the Chinese playbook and selling these exclusively online at prices they just couldn't offer on offline. So today, let's take a look at the Galaxy J7, the larger and pricier of the two. But before we do, if this is your first time here, or in case you've gotten tired of waiting for a decent Samsung product in the budget range and don't want to remember, my name's Ash, this is C4E Tech, and you're watching my full review of the Samsung Galaxy J7. Let's get started. Let's start with the build. The Galaxy J7 is reminiscent of the E7 from earlier this year, but with the J7 the back is user removable. Here we have two micro SIM card slots, a micro SD card slot, and a user replaceable 3000 mAh battery. To the front, on top, we have something new, an LED light. Barring that, we have the earpiece, sensors, and a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, Samsung branding below, a 5.5-inch display, and the familiar physical home key flanked by capacitive recent apps and back keys. These keys aren't backlit. To the back, we have the LED flash, a 13 megapixel rear camera, and a speaker. Lower below, we have Samsung branding again, followed by the Duos branding. We have the volume rockers to the left and the power button to the right, the microphone, micro USB port, and the headphone jack reset at the bottom. Samsung's cut a corner here by not including a secondary noise cancelling microphone. The J7 is 7.5mm thick and weighs in at 171 grams. While the curved sides make it comfortable to hold, the back is too smooth and makes it slippery at times. Also, given the size of the J7, don't expect to use it single-handed at most times. Talking about size, the Galaxy J7 sports a Gorilla Glass covered 5.5-inch Super AMOLED HD display. This is a 720p AMOLED display, and that means a pixel density of 267 pixels per inch. The display isn't too sharp, but it's okay for the most part. The colors are mildly warm, but it's still a Super AMOLED display, meaning the blacks are deep and the viewing angles are stellar. Moreover, the display can get really bright, so it's pretty legible outdoors. And that brings us to the next corner cut. Samsung, in traditional Samsung fashion, have failed to include an auto brightness sensor here, so you'd have to keep manually adjusting brightness all the time. Talking about sensors, Samsung's also failed to include a few other basic sensors. On the flip side, USB OTG is present and accounted for. Anyway, let's talk about the specs now. The Galaxy J7 is powered by a 64-bit octa-core Exynos chip. The one sold in India trades the Snapdragon 615 away in favor of the new Exynos 7580 chip. That's 8 Cortex A53 cores clocked at 1.5 GHz each, coupled with a Mali T720 MP2 GPU and 1.5 gigs of RAM. There's also 16 gigs of onboard storage with about 12 gigs available to the end user. The Galaxy J7 benchmarks quite well actually, provides better numbers than phones that we've seen having Snapdragon 615 inside, but without the heating. It even runs a lot of intensive games smoothly. And like I said, it manages to do so while not succumbing to heat issues. Samsung's chips are getting better these days. Nice. The audio levels via the rear speaker though are quite low. That being said, the call quality and audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack was pretty good. Now all this is powered by a 3000 mAh battery and the battery life on this device was great. On a looping video playback test, the Galaxy J7 lasted a little over 11 hours before running out of juice. I constantly managed to get about 4.5 hours of screen on time with my typical usage. If that wasn't enough, Samsung's also thrown in power saving options including the ultra power saving mode to help you get the most out of this battery. Anyway, let's now talk cameras. The Galaxy J7 has a 13 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front shooter. The rear camera performs decently. Images shot with it had ample levels of detail, the colors were quite right, and thanks to the wide aperture you can get some beautiful depth of field shots here. At times this camera did tend to overexpose images a bit though. Under low artificial lighting, the performance was again adequate. This camera can also shoot 1080p videos and the videos turned out good, in line with the still image performance that we've seen. The 5 megapixel front camera uses a wide angle lens and produced similarly good results. Samsung's also thrown in an LED light here. I say light because this is not a flash, you can turn it on and off as and when the situation demands. Nice. The user interface is nothing new, the regular Samsung camera UI. There are common modes like Sports, Beauty Phase and HDR, we've seen all these before. The one new addition here is the Pro mode. That's new for budget phones. But this Pro mode is a stripped down version of what we've seen on the S6, S6 Edge and the flagship devices. All you can change here are the white balance, exposure and ISO. Anyway, the camera UI is pretty responsive, shutter speed's fast, focus times are okay, no lag jumping between the camera and the gallery. And I also really like the fact that Samsung's included a quick camera launch feature here. This lets you double press the home key to launch the camera at any time. Moving on, the Galaxy J7 runs on Android 5.1 Lollipop with Samsung's new TouchWiz UI on top. This is the new TouchWiz, meaning performance is quite good. Samsung's included a bunch of their own apps and even a few Microsoft apps here. Additionally, there are quite a few games preloaded and sadly these can't be uninstalled, just disabled. The theme store to help you customize the look and feel of the user interface is also available, and there's quite a few nice looking themes here. In association with GameLoft, the J7 ships with an app called Game Zone on board. This app provides you game credits for up to 3200 rupees for these 4 games. If you're interested in any of these games, this might just be a great deal for you. Overall, the user experience on the Galaxy J7 was stable and fluid. Apps open up quick and there wasn't any stutter or lag for the most part. Priced at 14,999 rupees and available without any flash sale or invite hoopla, the Galaxy J7 makes an alluring case for those on a budget. There are some obvious cons though. Lack of sensors including auto brightness, lack of a notification LED, low output levels via the internal speaker, lack of a secondary noise cancelling microphone, lack of a backlight for capacitive keys, and haptic feedback. This isn't even something that's missing. You can activate it with a third-party keyboard like SwiftKey, but Samsung's disabled it for the capacitive keys, just to differentiate the J line from the other more expensive series of phones that they offer. But if you can live with these cons and if you want a Samsung phone in this price segment, then the J7 might just serve you well. If you are willing to look past Samsung, there are other smartphones that offer you better bang for your buck. Then again, that's just one guy's opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with my conclusion here? Let me know in the comments below. So with that, we get to the end of my review. Hope you liked the video. Hope you found it useful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, vote it down. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. If you do want to help the channel out, do consider changing your Flipkart URL to one with the affiliate code so that we get a little something each time you shop. You can find the URL in the description below under where to buy. So thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4E Tech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye bye now.